Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green are known for being pretty easy, but what if every trainer had their levels increased by 50%? That means at the end of the game, there's a level 95 champion waiting for me. That combined with no healing in battle and no switches between KOs, should make for a pretty difficult challenge. Before we get started, if you enjoy the video, consider hitting like and subscribe, as it really helps out me and my channel. Also, feel free to hang out in my Discord server, link in the description. Let's go. So Charmander is objectively the worst starter to choose in these games. Bulbasaur is super effective to the first two gyms, Squirtle is super effective against Brock and okay into Misty, and Charmander is weak against both of them. But I've unintentionally chosen the fire starter the last 4 times I've done this challenge, so I guess it's a tradition now. I call him Scarlet and then we get started.
The world wants
Charizard!
And the feeling is mutual.
We lose the first rival battle since his Squirtle is a high enough level to no bubble, but there's not much I can do about that, so let's move on. I do a bit of training until we get Ember, and then we tear through the bug catchers until we get to level 13 and learn Metal Claw. Unfortunately, it doesn't actually do that much damage to Brock's gym trainer, and he doesn't even give us enough experience to evolve. I head back into Viridian Forest so we can get up to level 16 and evolve into Charmeleon. Against Brock, a Metal Claw does about 30% as Geodude just defense curls. I go for an Ember next, which does another 30%.
Another one, thank you.
While he tackles. Another Ember.
Another one, thank you.
Takes him into the red, and he defense curls again, so one more Ember.
Another one, thank you.
Takes him down. Then it's Onix who hits a critical hit tackle as our Ember does pretty much nothing to him, then he takes us down with Rock Tomb. I come back 3 levels higher, and we get really lucky against Geodude as both of our Embers crit for a 2-hit KO. We're faster than Onix now, but we still do basically no damage, and after a Rock Tomb he can outspeed and finish us off. By level 20, I've learned Smokescreen,
Put your lighters up!
which doesn't help at all. Then at level 22, I get lucky again with Geodude as he just goes for defense curls, so we take him down with full health. Ember does just under a quarter to Onix as he Rock Tombs us to just above half health. Then he doesn't click Rock Tomb again, so after a few more hits we can take him down. I'm pretty sure that he only goes for Rock Tomb if he's faster than you or if he sees the kill with it, which is weird since 3 Rock Tombs definitely would have killed us. Anyway, we can finally move on. With the first gym badge, I head straight to Mount Moon, where I can pick up a Clefairy who I call Pearl.
So there's something on my face.
Then, since Clefairy has an absolutely horrible level up moveset,
Ew! What an interesting artifact.
I use the Moonstone to evolve her straight away. Clefable isn't the best Pokemon in the world, since it has no stats over 100, not a fairy type yet, doesn't get Magic Guard till Gen 4, and doesn't get a special attack buff until Gen 6. But,
Love pink.
Then after some switch training through the rest of Mount Moon, I get to these 2 move tutors and teach Pearl Mega Kick and Mega Punch. Pretty unreliable moves, but I suppose they're better than Pound. Against my rival, Pidgeotto goes down without doing too much damage thanks to a lucky burn from Ember. Thankfully he hasn't evolved his starter yet, so Squirtle goes down to 2 Mega Kicks, and all he does is hit 2 Tail Whips. Abra only knows Teleport, so he's a free kill. And while Rattata does a lot of damage thanks to our defense drop, he falls in love thanks to Cute Charm and goes down shortly after. I need to get as many levels as I can on Pearl in time for the water gym, so I use her for the trainers on Nugget Bridge. Then I make sure to get this trainer to walk down when he fights me, so I can get the secret power TM early without needing to use Cut. I teach this to Pearl to replace Pound. By the time we get to Misty, Pearl's up at level 29, so just stronger than Staryu. She outspeeds us and goes for a Harden, but our secret power does over half and paralyzes her, so next turn we can outspeed and take her down. Then it's Starmie at level 32. Her Water Pulse does about a third, and our secret power does the same. I think if we paralyze her we should be able to win. An Oranberry helps us get some health back, and Misty heals too with a Super Potion. Unfortunately our third secret power doesn't paralyze, and she hits us to 9 HP with another Water Pulse, and confuses us. We hit through the confusion, but still no paralysis, so we go down. And then Scarlet goes down to a single hit. I come back, and this time Staryu hits a Water Pulse which confuses us. I switch out to Charmeleon to break the confusion, and I have to let him go down. I bring Pearl back out. Okay, so this time Staryu just hardens as we crit with the secret power for the one shot. Then we hit Water Pulse and secret power with no confusion or paralysis. We hit each other again, and we win the RNG war as we paralyze her. Misty heals here, but a secret power and a lucky Mega Kick can finish her off. She gives me the Water Pulse TM after winning and tells me to use it on an aquatic Pokemon, but you can't even catch any aquatic Pokemon yet, so I just teach it to Pearl.
Another one, thank you.
So Lieutenant Surge is next, and his Raichu is going to be level 36. There's loads of trainers to take down on Route 6, Route 11 and the SSN, but I don't actually want to get too high leveled. Charmeleon learns Flamethrower at 34, but I don't want him to get to 36 before taking down the gym, since once he evolves, he'll be weak to Electric. So I use Pearl to take down the rest of the trainers on the boat, but Charmeleon does help against my rival. Thanks to Flamethrower, Surge's first 2 Pokemon go down in 1 hit each, and while his Raichu can live it with above half health, once he takes Scarlet down, Pearl can finish him off with a Mega Kick. It feels so nice to finally have an easy gym leader. After taking down his younger self, Scarlet gets to level 36, evolves into Charizard, and learns Wing Attack, which I immediately replace with the Aerial Ace TM I pick up right after. Once we get out of Rock Tunnel, we're in Lavender Town and it's time for another rival fight. But he's really easy since my team's pretty strong by now and he doesn't have too much of a level advantage. Also, there's like 3 more rival fights, so let's just skip this one. I wanted to catch a Ghastly to add to my team, but I forgot that you can't even see the Ghastlies properly without the Self Scope, so I head over to Celadon City to take down Giovanni. His Onix and Rhyhorn go down to a Water Pulse each, and then Kangaskhan's last.
Shaka Khan.
Rage does a sliver of damage as we crit a secret power to bring her below half. A Mega Punch then takes our health low into the yellow, as a second secret power does the same to her. Pearl goes down here, but Scarlet can come out and get the kill with a Flamethrower. Now that I have the Self Scope, I head back to Lavender Town and catch a Ghastly who I call Violet.
Ooh la 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 la.
His level up moves are also atrocious, so I teach him the Psychic TM from Saffron City and use 2 PP ups I got from Celadon City. Then I ignore Ghastly's hideously disfigured Gen 3 back sprite and fight some of the nearby trainers to get him to level 25 where he evolves into Haunter. And then I can, trade with my friend to get a Gengar. Gengar has 130 special attack and 110 speed, so we can pretty easily make our way through the trainers in the Pokemon Tower since 88% of their Pokemon are poison types. 90% of the Pokemon in Erica's so-called Grass Gym are poison type too, so Psychics tear through them, and even though we're paralysed for almost the entire gym battle, we can easily get the 4th badge. So at this point in the game, the map opens up and I've got a few options of where I can go. I can go into Saffron City and take down Team Rocket and then fight Sabrina. I also could go down either Cycling Road or the never-ending routes full of trainers to get to Fuchsia City and fight Koga. Then once he's defeated and I can use Surf, I have the option of fighting Blaine. Sabrina and Koga are both going to have level 65s, and Blaine will have a level 71 Arcanine. My team is nowhere near strong enough to take on level 60s right now, so I decide to head down Route 12, 13, 14 and 15 and take down all the trainers. This gets everyone a decent amount of levels, and it also gets me a load of money, which I can exchange for coins in the game corner to buy a Thunderbolt TM for Gengar.
I don't need poison and ghost type moves.
They disappoint me.
I also buy a Hyper Beam TM while I'm here to replace Mega Kick on Pearl. Once I get to Fuchsia City, I can head into the Safari Zone and pick up the Quick Claw. By the time we get to Koga, Gengar's not even level 50, but since Koga only has normal moves which we're immune to, or poison moves which we 4 times resist, we can easily take him down with a few Psychics. I track down all the trainers in Silphco since the next rival fight is soon, and this will probably be the first difficult one, since most of his Pokemon are fully evolved. He starts with Pidgeot at level 56. Violet outspeeds, but unfortunately a Thunderbolt is just shy of the kill, so his Wing Attack does about a third before he goes down. Then it's Alakazam and I switch out to Pearl on a future site. We outspeed here and a secret power does 2/3 as a Psychic does just over half. Then another secret power takes him down. I was really confused by a Clefable outspeeding an Alakazam and I spent so long trying to figure out how we outsped. Pearl has 95 speed and the lowest possible speed this Alakazam could have would be 118. Then after about 5 minutes I remembered that Pearl's holding the Quick Claw and I got really lucky with it activating on both turns. Growlithe comes out as we take the future site and go down to 33 HP. Then Pearl continues to be a girl boss and crits a Water Pulse on Growlithe. Against Execute, I thought a Hyper Beam would be an easy one-hit KO, but it only does just over half. I looked up his defense stat and he actually has higher defense than Gyarados, Charizard and Raikou. Anyway, he charges up for a Solar Beam, which gives us a free switch into Scarlet to take him down. Then Blastoise comes out, and since he has his level up moves of Rapid Spin, Protect, Rain Dance and Skull Bash, he can't do any damage to Violet, so we're free to end the fight. Sabrina starts off pretty easy. Kadabra and Venomoth go down to 1 Flamethrower each. Mr. Mime can live a hit but just goes for Barrier for some reason. And then it's Alakazam. She's faster than us and goes for a Calm Mind, so our Flamethrower does under half. Another Calm Mind and another Flamethrower leaves her at about 25%, and she probably could one-hit kill my whole team here, but she goes for a Future Sight for some reason, so that gets us a surprisingly easy 6th gym badge. Hopefully my rival's Alakazam is this easy in the champion battle. The final 2 gyms of the game are normally really easy if you have any decent Pokemon with Surf, but I don't, so we're gonna have to improvise a bit. We have no issues with Blaine's gym trainers, but his Pokemon are going to be a lot stronger, so he could give us issues. He starts with Growler who intimidates Pearl. We outspeed and a Water Pulse crits for the one-hit kill. Then it's Ponyta, and he can live another one in the red as a Fire Blast hits us for about a third. Blaine uses his 2 Hyper Potions here, but eventually we can take Ponyta down. Then it's Rapidash, and since Pearl has my only super effective move, I decide to keep her healthy and switch to Violet. Thankfully Rapidash misses a Fire Blast on the switch. Then we outspeed and hit a lucky Hypnosis. Blaine actually has a full heal here, but since a Thunderbolt does over half and we outspeed, a second Thunderbolt can take him down. Next it's Arcanine, and I go for Hypnosis again, which hits again, and he stays asleep for long enough for 3 Thunderbolts to take him down. I know that looks like it was pretty easy, but there's definitely an alternate universe where this battle took me at least 10 attempts because I kept missing Hypnosis. Once we beat Blaine, he gives us the Fire Blast TM, which I could teach to Scarlet, but I just hang on to it for now. Then I head back to Celadon City and get an Ice Beam TM for Pearl, since we probably don't need Water Pulse anymore and its 60 base power was starting to get a little bit outclassed. Then it's on to Giovanni. But we're back to gym leaders being really easy now thanks to Violet. His Dog Trio has no way to damage us. Nidoking and Queen can only hit us with 4 times resisted, 15 base power Poison Stings, and while the 2 Rhyhorns could do good damage with Rock Blast, they're both 4 times weak to Giga Drain and go down really easily. In Victory Road, I pick up TMs for Overheat and Dragon Claw. The latter I teach to Charizard and the former I keep just in case. Then let's take one last look at my team before the Elite Four. Everyone's in the mid to late 60s and the Elite Four is going to range from 77 to 95, so I can see us getting overpowered really quickly. Violet has Electric, Psychic and Grass moves which gives us super effective damage into pretty much all of Lorelei, Bruno and Agatha's teams. Scarlet's Dragon Claw should give us a nice matchup into Lance, and Aerial Ace isn't amazing considering we have a minus attack nature, but there's not really anything better since Fly only has 70 power in Gen 3. Pearl doesn't have the most interesting moveset, but we can change this around if we need to, since Clefable is actually the Pokemon that can learn the most moves, apart from Mew who can learn every TM. Anyway, let's take on the Elite Four. Lorelei starts with Dugong and a Thunderbolt does just over half as she sets up with Hail, so another hit can take her down. Then it's Slowbro and another Thunderbolt does well over half to her as well. Thankfully she doesn't know Psychic, so she goes for Surf, which we can live in the red as Hail takes us down to 15 HP. Lorelei heals here, so I Giga Drain to regain some health too. Then a Thunderbolt can finish her off. Lapras comes out next, and Violet will probably just die if he stays in, so I switch in Pearl on an Ice Beam. Unfortunately she's faster than us and our secret power doesn't get the paralysis, so she's able to take us down. I bring out Scarlet next, and a Brick Break doesn't even take her into the yellow as she kills us with 1 Surf. The only way Violet can live is if she hits a Hypnosis, which she does, so a Giga Drain and Thunderbolt can take Lapras down. Cloyster wastes our PP with Protect, but then she goes down to another Giga Drain and Thunderbolt.
Because your name is Jinx.
And a Thunderbolt does way less damage than I thought it would as she puts us to sleep. She also hits an Attract, so Violet's fate is sealed.
I really could die. I'm giving you realness.
I can give Scarlet Overheat for some more damage on Lapras, but I don't think there's much else I can do apart from get some more levels on Violet. Thankfully that's decently easy to do, since Dugong and Slowbro go down so easily. I come back with everyone a few levels higher. Dugong just goes for a Hail again, but Slowbro gives us issues this time. As we hit her down to about 20%, she doubles her special defense with Amnesia. After Lorelei heals, Thunderbolts only do about a third, so she surfs us down to 41 HP, and then we can get the kill. Once Lapras comes out, I switch out to Pearl, and just go for 1 secret power again before going down. I bring Violet back out, and a Giga Drain does about 40% to her, and thankfully gets our health back into the green. Another Surf takes our health really low, but thanks to a lucky Hypnosis, a Thunderbolt and a Giga Drain can take her down. Cloyster goes down to 1 Thunderbolt, and Jinx is last. Another Thunderbolt does about a third as we go down to Ice Punch. Then Scarlet can outspeed and get the kill with a Flamethrower. Bruno's next, and his first Pokemon is Onix, who goes down to 1 Giga Drain. Then Hitmonchan can live a Psychic, and a Rock Tomb does about 20% of our health, and lowers our speed. Thankfully we're still faster, and another Psychic takes him down. We also outspeed the next Onix, who goes down to another Giga Drain, and then it's Machamp. We outspeed him too, and a Psychic does about 2/3. His Rock Tomb is slightly stronger than Hitmonchan's, and after eating his Citrus Berry he outspeeds us, but he just goes for a bulk up so we take him down. Hitmonlee can only hit Ghost types by going for Foresight, but we can switch from Violet into Scarlet and then back to Violet to reset that, so Bruno goes down too. Then it's Agatha, and her first Gengar can be annoying with Double Team and Confuse Ray, so I start with Scarlet to keep Violet healthy. She shadow punches, which doesn't do too much damage, and our flamethrower does just about half. She double teams, and I wasn't sure if another flamethrower would get the kill, so I go for an overheat to take her down. Then I let Scarlet go down against Golbat, and he can go for a flamethrower, but since we have -2 special attack, it doesn't even get her into the yellow. Then Violet's faster and can finish her off with Thunderbolt. Haunter goes down to 1 Psychic, and then Arbok can live another in the red and go for a Screech. Agatha heals twice, but Psychics can easily finish her off. Then Gengar comes out. Since our defense is lowered, Shadow Ball could do some good damage, so I switch out to Pearl, who's immune to it. I thought she might Sludge Bomb here, so I go for an Encore, but she misses a Hypnosis, which I lock her into. She hits the second Hypnosis, and after a few turns of nothing,
Wake up, Pearl.
the Encore ends, and she hits a Sludge Bomb for about a third. Then she goes for a Nightmare as Pearl finally wakes up, and we Encore her into Nightmare, which only works if you're asleep, so I can safely switch back to Violet and take her down with 2 Psychics. Now it's Lance who starts with Gyarados, and even though he's 9 levels higher than Violet, a Thunderbolt is enough for the 1-hit kill. This brings out Aerodactyl, who hits a wing attack for just under half, as another Thunderbolt gets a crit for the 1-hit KO. Dragonite's next, all the way up at level 90. We outspeed and Thunderbolt again, which does about a quarter, but more importantly also gets the paralysis. Gengar goes down to an Outrage, but I can bring out Pearl and outspeed with an Ice Beam, which hits him into the red, as another Outrage takes us below half. Our Cute Charm activates as he eats his Citrus Berry and he gets confused from Outrage. Since his health isn't in the red anymore, Lance doesn't heal, and another Ice Beam can take him down. Then it's Dragonair number 1 who kills Pearl with a Hyper Beam, but since he needs to recharge, Scarlet can take him down with 2 Dragon Claws. Dragonair number 2 comes out, takes another Dragon Claw, and paralyzes us with Thunder Wave. Now that he's faster, he goes for Safeguard, so 1 more hit wins us the fight against Lance. My rival starts with Pidgeot at level 89, and I lead with Pearl at 72. He goes for a Sand Attack, but we thankfully hit an Ice Beam for just under half, and we get the freeze. I go for a Secret Power next to keep him out the red so he doesn't heal, and after missing our next Ice Beam, our Quick Claw activates, so the next one takes him down. Then it's Alakazam who sets up a Reflect, and our Secret Power only does a sliver of damage and paralyzes him, but since he's got Synchronize, we get paralyzed too. He hits a Psychic which takes our health really low, and we miss our next attack so we go down. I bring out Scarlet and go for a Flamethrower, which leaves him in the yellow, and his Psychic takes us down to 21 HP. Our next Flamethrower gets the kill. Blastoise is next, and since our health is below a third, our ability Blaze is activated, so I go for Overheat, which considering the level difference and the type disadvantage actually does a decent amount of damage. Then he takes us down with Bite. Violet's last, and a Thunderbolt takes him down into the red, which activates his Torrent, and a 1.5 times boosted Hydro Pump can easily take us down. So we got pretty lucky there with the freeze and paralysis, but I think we're just too low leveled. His weakest Pokemon is 86, and our Pokemon are 10 to 18 levels lower. I can't think of any strategies which would help that much, so I decided to just get a few more levels, mainly on Pearl so we can start the fight off better. I tried to rematch the Elite Four, but without just using Gengar, that's a lot easier said than done. And getting the experience share is a pain in these games, since you have to catch 50 different Pokemon. I actually go and get the Versus Seeker and head to Cycling Road to rematch these trainers here. If you consider the experience and money I get as well as the time it takes to beat them, it's actually a lot better than rematching the Elite Four. Since I'm not losing money by wiping to Lorelei over and over again, I can go and buy a Shadow Ball TM for Pearl, and it's on to attempt 2. We miss our first Ice Beam thanks to Sand Attack, but after another Sand Attack, we can do more than half of his health. Pidgeot goes for an Aerial Ace that activates Cute Charm, which means even though we miss our next 2 attacks, he can't do anything else before going down. Alakazam goes for Reflect, but this time we have Shadow Ball, and since we can just hang on from a Psychic, we can hit him again low into the yellow. I thought he would heal here, so I switch out to Scarlet, but he actually goes for a Future Sight, so we don't get punished. Then he Future Sights again, which fails, so a Flamethrower can finish him off. Against Blastoise, I switch into Pearl, who dodges a Hydro Pump but goes down to Future Sight. So I bring out Violet, who can hit Thunderbolt for just over half of Blastoise's health. Then we're just strong enough to survive a Hydro Pump, and even after his Citrus Berry, we can take a Blastoise down with another Thunderbolt. Against Arcanine, I switch into Scarlet, who takes a Bite pretty well. His Extreme Speed doesn't do too much to us as we hit a Dragon Claw, which crits for about a third. Another Extreme Speed will take Charizard into Blaze range, so I click Overheat this time, but Arcanine goes for a Flamethrower instead, so we do about the same damage as last time as he takes us down. Gengar can finish him off with a Thunderbolt, and then it's Exeggutor. He only knows Sleep Powder, Light Screen, Giga Drain, and Egg Bomb, so if I get him to use up all 5 PP of Giga Drain, he can't do any damage to us. I use my own Giga Drains to get my health back up, but unfortunately he's too strong and he takes us down. Damn, it would have been really cool to win like that. So this time, I start with Scarlet instead, and I set up a Sunny Day as we get hit with a sand attack. A Flamethrower on the next turn gets a lucky crit and takes Pidgeot down. So now it's Blastoise and I go for a Fire Blast for about a quarter, and we get the burn. Then we spend a few turns playing Weather Wars and missing our attacks, but eventually, thanks to the sun, we can live a Hydro Pump with 32 HP, and his burn brings his health just low enough that a Flamethrower can take him down. Then it's Rhydon and I go for a Blaze, Sunny Day and Charcoal boosted Flamethrower, which does 2/3 and gets the burn as we get taken down by Takedown. Either Pearl or Violet could finish him off and they'll both make him send out Alakazam next, so I get Pearl to finish the job with 2 Ice Beams after he heals. A Psychic from Alakazam brings us into the yellow as a Shadow Ball takes him into the red. We do a 2-turn Groundhog Day of full restores and Shadow Balls, and then I was going to use Hyper Beam to finish him off after he healed, but he doesn't heal and our Quick Claw procs. So while we do take him down, we have to recharge as Exeggutor comes out, so he puts us to sleep.
Wake up, Pearl. It's a bad plan.
I switch in Violet on a Giga Drain, and after many turns of stalling, he takes us down with his last Giga Drain PP. Pearl can take an Egg Bomb as she sleeps, and the next 2 miss, so we can hit 2 Ice Beams to finish him off. But Arcanine is last, 2 Extreme Speeds for the kill. We got so lucky there, with Charizard hitting through Sand Attack and Pearl dodging Egg Bombs, but I think we're just the tiniest bit too weak. I'll go and get a few more levels, and hopefully that can get us the win. Scarlet's 83 now, but a Sun boosted Flamethrower still won't kill Pidgeot, so I have to risk a Fire Blast, which hits. Another Fire Blast hits and crits against Blastoise as he sets up the rain and eats his Citrus Berry. I reset the Sun as he goes for a Torrent boosted Hydro Pump, which we live with 1 HP. Then a Flamethrower gets the kill. Against Rhydon, I risk another Fire Blast and get lucky again, but it's not enough for the kill so we go down. Regardless, that was an A+ performance from Scarlet. Pearl kills Rhydon with 2 Ice Beams like last time, and also like last time, Alakazam hits a Psychic, hangs on from a Shadow Ball, and then we Groundhog Day again until he takes Pearl down. So now we're down to just Gengar and he's got 3 Pokemon left. Thankfully a Thunderbolt can sort out Alakazam, and with a lucky Hypnosis, Arcanine stays asleep for long enough to go down to 3 more attacks.
And 5 more Whoppers.
Like I said earlier, if we can stall Exeggutor of his 5 Giga Drains, he won't be able to damage us. But somewhere in the middle of this 8-minute 1v1, I realised that if he runs out of power points he can use Struggle to take us down, so I make sure to use Hypnosis when I can, so he won't burn through his PP as quickly. I also try to lower his special defense with Psychic, so we can gain more health back from Giga Drain, but we don't get any Spidaf drops. Then, eventually, after a 14-minute long battle, we've finally taken down the champion. This challenge as a whole was really easy, but I still had a lot of fun. It goes to show that Gengar is an incredible Pokemon, especially in Fire Red and Leaf Green, since so many trainers have no way to do any good damage to a Ghost type. Also, after beating the first gym, I didn't have to do any training at all until we got to Lorelei and then the champion, which I suppose is pretty standard for these games. If you enjoyed the video, please consider hitting like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and hopefully, I'll see you next time.